It's Kind of a Funny Story is a novel by Ned Vizzini about a teenager named Craig Gilner with depression. Through Craig's thoughts and dialogue, Vizzini captures the basic feelings of depression and validates them for the reader. He creates a character who is relatable and realistic, who captures the nature of teen depression incredibly well and is utterly human. Craig falls into depression after getting into a prestigious high school called Executive Pre-Professional. He had been studying for the admission test obsessively, but after he got in, he found that he could not keep up with the other students. One night, he admitted himself into a psychiatric hospital. Craig meets many new people during his stay, whom are all interesting and lovable despite their illnesses. Craig's roommate is an incredibly adorable middle-aged Egyptian man, Muqtada. Muqtada is very kind and caring towards Craig, but suffers from serious depression and usually spends all day in bed, hoping to get better. Muqtada always struck me as a very sad character. Through the dialogue, you learn that he once had a wife and lived in Egypt, but has somehow ended up in the hospital, constantly lying in his bed staring without seeing. We see Muqtada smile at one point. After Craig convinces him to leave his room, he nevertheless returns to the bed, unable to handle any other environment besides his room. Another person that Craig meets in the hospital is Noelle. Noelle is the same age as Craig, and the two form a bond the very first time they speak. Noelle suffers from depression just like Craig and Muqtada, and has scars on her face to prove it. She provides the insight and perspective that Craig needs in order to recover. Overall, the book is incredibly realistic, and it would have to be considering it's semi-autobiographical. Through reading it, you can't help but wonder if the alterations that Vizzini made to his story are the aspects of his own stay that he would have changed. It's also almost impossible to not notice the subtle humor that Vizzini puts into any bad situation, even in his own interviews. His optimism is unbelievable, and it seems that he's on a roller coaster that's only going up, as Augustus Waters would say.
It's like prison. You know, it's like the new guys aren't allowed to use the phone. The people who've been there for a while are going to hoard the phone and keep it to themselves. So I didn't get a chance to use the phone. I kind of wanted to call this girl that I was dating because I had been on a couple dates with her, and now I was in the psych hospital, and I thought I'd probably have to break up with her. She wouldn't really want to hang out with me anymore. And I was waiting for the phone, and then at 7 o'clock they shut the phone down, and I couldn't use it. And I just stood by the phone, and I just couldn't deal with it. I just started kicking at the wall and cursing and asking how I would ever be able to call anybody, and people were going to find out where I was. And this other patient was sitting right there, and he said to me, "What are you worried about, buddy?" I said, "Hey, I had to use the phone, and now I can't use the phone. I'm not going to be able to call the people I have to call. What am I going to do?" And the guy said, "What are you worried about the phone for, man? You need to make a call? Here, just try the banana phone." And then he pulled the banana out, and he held it up. And I started laughing. And I believe very much in the healing power of laughter. And I'm going to keep this banana by my head for just a little longer. I believe that anything that you can laugh at, you can control. And anything that you can laugh at, you can have power over. And if you can laugh at it, you can handle it. And when this guy in the hospital picked out the banana phone and held it to his head, I looked at the real phone and I realized I probably look just as stupid kicking the real phone and cursing as he does holding the banana phone. I probably look more stupid. And I started laughing with him about the banana phone, and I decided, who cares if I call the person I thought I needed to call? It's not going to kill me. It's really not. There are so few things that can really kill you in this world. But one of the things that can is stress. So when I left the hospital, I started writing It's Kind of a Funny Story. And I ditched that old book that I was changing all the tenses for. It's Kind of a Funny Story. I wrote very quickly, and the editors liked it, and it became the book that satisfied my book contract. But there are a lot of people who never make it to the hospital, and there are a lot of people who never make it to the phone, and there are a lot of people who succumb to suicide or drug use or alcoholism because they're unable to control the stress in their own lives. So for you guys, don't risk it. Just remember, keep your antenna up so that you're actively engaged when you go into school, so you're thinking positively instead of thinking negatively. Don't sell yourself short or act out of fear when you discover what you really love to do. And then remember always that stress is not a real threat. It's your body's response to a perceived threat. It evolved in you, but you can step back and control it. And remembering these 3 things, I think you'll all be able to go out in life and tell plenty of funny stories of your own.